Fun fact: Married with so the two highest. I don't know how they get these ratings, but the two highest ratings in prison, the highest rated, most watched shows were 1, Cops, 2, Married with Children.
Cawfee Talk. Welcome back to Cawfee Talk, everybody, where the coffee is hot and the guests are iconic. I am so excited for today's guest because literally the minute I saw him, I got brought right back to my childhood in the best possible way. David Faustino.
Hi.
Thank you.
Hello.
Also known as Bud Bundy to everybody who loved Married with Children, which was probably the majority of America, which is why it was such a huge hit. And for me, probably the reason why, and we'll say this now, it was like the anti-sitcom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think everything before it was like Leave It to Beaver, The Cosby Show, which...
Well, I'll interject because that's funny you say that because even before you said The Cosby Show, I was going to say the working title of the show before it was called Married with Children was actually not The Cosbys. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was not The Cosbys, but they wanted to... I'm glad they changed
right.
it, but that was what it was called on paper.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
What's so funny too, because if you think about it, like if it was a competition today, like who's the better dad, Al Bundy or Bill Cosby? Al Bundy won.
Well, we know how that turned out.
But I love the come up because it's like you were a kid. You were the most relatable to me as far as age. I saw Bud Bundy as somebody I could have went to school with or a boy you could have had a crush on. So to me it was like you are up for this audition for a show that you had no idea would be this iconic. Iconic.
Yeah. Yeah, I had been working as an actor literally since I fell out of my first job. I was 3 months old for a Lily Tomlin special where she played a clown in she was a clown in the circus, and I don't know, she was rushed to have a baby. The baby came out as a clown, and here I am.
He fit the role. No.
Yeah, so I'd been auditioning, and I did a lot of pilots, but I had this deep desire. I wanted to be on a series so bad.
How old were you?
12.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I wanted it really bad, and so I auditioned, and the first time I auditioned, I got one call back, and then that was it. And they hired actually 2 other kids to play Bud and Kelly, 2 other actors.
Besides you and Christina.
Yeah, besides Christina and I. And they didn't work out, luckily for us, and they recast. And then I went through the process and, then ended up going to network.
I can't even picture it being anybody but you two.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was a stroke of good luck.
Well, the way it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get the part, and do you know day one it's going to be what it is, or where there's
Well, when I got it, it was already picked up for 6. And the reason they originally picked it up to do 13, but the network so badly didn't want Ed O'Neill as Al. Can you imagine?
No.
And they were the casting director, Mark Hirschfeld, great guy, brilliant casting director, and they had been seeing every funny guy in town, big comedians, pretty big actors. They originally it was Sam Kinison.
Oh wow.
As and Roseanne Barr they wanted for it was kind of, and
which is funny because Married with Children laid the groundwork down for Roseanne show, for any show like it. The Simpsons even. There was nothing Married with Children was the first.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what's funny is, speaking of The Simpsons, it started as an offshoot of the Tracy Ullman show.
Yeah. Tracy Ullman,
yeah. But the casting director, Mark, was in Connecticut, and they had been through months of trying to cast, and he saw Ed O'Neill in a play, what's Lenny and Of Mice and Men.
Of Mice and Men.
And somehow Mark Hirschfeld, as brilliant as he is, was like, that's the guy. In playing Lenny of all characters.
He played Lenny?
Yeah. And they had him come in, and they loved what he did, and that's how it went. But they said, if you're gonna, we don't want this guy. If you're gonna hire him, we're gonna make it a 6-episode commitment. And the producers, Ron Levitt, Michael Moy, great guys, were like, no, this is who we want. So fine, we'll take the 6th episode.
And then you got the green light.
And I got the green light.
How many years were you on?
We did 11 seasons.
You grew up in front of America.
I did. For better or for worse, I did, yeah.
What was that like? Do people always expect you? Like at that point, you go from, doing pilots and a baby clown.
Yeah.
To being the most recognized kid your age. Like, do people always, I'm a few people know I'm a comedian and people still expect me to be like
funny.
On at every party.
No,
and like, do they have this like perception of you at that point?
Well, I was so young, like I was just going on 13 and the first like 2 seasons, like we didn't get, I was like dying to get recognized. I remember I was like 13 and I was like, because I was go to these teen beat parties, like and like people were all over Corey Feldman and Corey Haim and all of these people, and I wanted to be recognized so bad. I remember going to the mall and I actually wore a Married with Children T-shirt, and not one fucking person, not a single one, said a word, and I was like, what the fuck? And then what happened is right at the end of season 2, this woman named Terry Ricolta up in Michigan, this extremely wealthy woman with very, very influential ties in politics and stuff. She like came into the room and she heard her kids cracking up, and she came into the room, super conservative woman, and she's like, "What the fuck?" And she sat down and she was appalled. She couldn't believe what she was hearing, and she was successful in pulling Coca-Cola, McDonald's, like huge sponsors. And of course, that always backfires on the person trying to do it. And the show became it overnight. Like everybody was like, what's this show that we're not supposed to watch?
And she bashed the show.
And then after that, it became this big news piece, and everybody wanted to tune into this bad show. And it became a huge overnight smash after that.
I think, too, for me at least, when I looked at, and I was drawn to, the Cosby Show and this, like, white picket fence sort of idealistic
I loved
thing.
the Cosby Show.
Because I didn't come from that.
So
to me, it's like, I got to escape and play pretend on that TV. But as you're developing and as you're getting older and as you accept the situation you're living in, a show like Married with Children was like, oh. It was like when I first watched Moonstruck and I saw Italians, and I was like, I feel seen. Married with Children, I didn't even come from the 2-parent household that you guys had on that show, but there was dysfunction.
It was, but I always thought
based in love, though. Like there was, it was deep-rooted love.
Exactly.
But the way you would imagine, lower to middle class family, just paycheck to paycheck, loving each other and dealing with like how hard life is.
Exactly. I always thought, from the way I was raised, I always thought, Huxtable would have been a great dad, and even Al would have been a cool dad, right, in real life. But it was dysfunction, but the funny dysfunction, Yeah.
And did you like? Was that like? Because basically, you were just like a horny teenager.
Yeah.
Like that.
Nothing's changed. Now I'm just a horny old man.
Right, and that's it. Right. Feel bad for his wife. No, so that was like but like how many teenage boys like lived through that and felt normalized through that? You don't really realize the like impact that show had.
Yeah, I didn't. Well, just to follow up on the wearing the Married with Children T-shirt to the mall. After that, it became so crazy that when you're going through puberty and you're breaking out and you're just I was insecure anyway, so that just like multiplied, and I ended up like becoming the opposite. I didn't want to go anywhere. I would wear a hat and sunglasses. And
once you got the fame. Yes,
for a while. I embraced it later on, probably when I was about 17. Somehow I was like, oh, okay, I know how to make this work. But for a long time, I was very paranoid and very shut off. And, people would try to come give me love, and I would just be super defensive. And I didn't know how to embrace it. I fucking hated it. I loved doing the show. I had a great time there, and I enjoyed it so much. But out in public, go figure. Other teenage boys don't like to see other teenage boys succeed. When they don't. So I would also get a lot of shit from dudes, and it was a lot.
Well, they hated on you because yeah. You were someone who was being glorified.
Yeah.
Even young girls, even though you were made to be like a guy who couldn't get it.
Yeah.
You were a cute kid, and at the time,
Yeah.
there were probably girls, and so that was probably.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, teenage. Everybody's in competition.
I dated this cheerleader from a school I met. She was living in Orange County, and I wasn't going to high school. I was going to school on the set, and they didn't like me for that. I was dating one of their cheerleaders, and I became.
So you were taught on set.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
It was. First of all, Alyssa Milano, we're talking about Italians. They were doing Who's the Boss, and I was already a fan of that show because it started
me too.
Maybe a season or 2 seasons before us. And I remember our schoolrooms were literally, here's Christina and I's schoolroom, and 2 doors down was Danny Pintaro and Alyssa Milano. And I had this massive crush on Alyssa. Who didn't? Exactly.
I had a crush on her.
I mean,
I wanted to change my name to Sam. I was like obsessed.
How could you not? And she, I would get tongue-tied, like literally tongue-tied. Like I couldn't.
I mean, that's the only girl in your school.
I'd be like blah 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 blah, and it was rough. But school on set is good for people. Okay, 2 things have to happen for set school to work. You have to have, first of all, a great teacher, which are hard to come by, and the kid has to be one of those kids who wants to learn. Both which Alyssa had. We had like teachers that were like just okay at best. And I didn't want to be in the schoolroom. I fucking hated it. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to be on set.
Was it as many hours as a regular school day? No,
it's only 3.
Yeah.
It's only 3 hours.
Concentrated.
And you get a half hour in, and then they come get you. And so you just have to get those 3 hours in somehow during the day. But I just wanted to be on set. I just wanted to be hanging out with the adults and eating bagels and chopping it up. Yeah.
You wanted to be an adult already.
Yeah. And then the second teacher we hired, God bless my mom, but we thought this guy was okay. He ended up, he would always be sitting in the corner of the room while we were doing notes or in the rehearsal hall, and he would have this pen and pad, and everybody just assumed he was working on schoolwork and making a syllabus and that stuff. What he was doing was writing down shit that people were saying and all of the moments, including the entire cast, the crew, and he was...
Like a tell-all?
Yes. And he wrote a tell-all later on.
There should be some sort of like non-disclosure agreement that they...
He's a disgusting guy. And he talks about like jerking off in his car. And then, so he did this book. I tried to read it because it's about the show, about me, and it was so poorly written.
Oh.
You couldn't even fucking read it. It was so bad. But I didn't run into him. And years later, I was working on another show that only went for 6 episodes. But it was shooting at Sony, and the director was the same director as Married with Children, and just this boisterous, hilarious guy. And he goes, I'm sitting in the makeup chair. He goes, Faustino, come here. And I was like, what? And he like walks me around the stage, and we go to this trailer, and on the trailer door says this guy's name, the teacher. And he's like, can you fucking believe this? I'm like, and without even missing a beat, whop, 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 just raps on the door. And sure as shit,
it was him.
The door opens, and there is Joe Bauer. I'll just put his name out there because and the fact that he was still teaching, and the kid,
who would have hired him after
no one, they didn't know. The kid and his parent were. That's how bad the book. Nobody read the book, so they didn't know what he was capable of. And the kid and his parent were there, and we just like laid it on. We're like, "Yo, this is what this guy did
in front of him.
This is who's. Oh yeah.
What was he saying?
Beat fucking red. Like he go, oh yeah, okay, oh yeah, okay, like trying to like diffuse it somehow.
If Bud Bundy busted in my son's room
Yeah.
while he's being taught and outed a teacher, I would grab my kid and run.
Well, the dad was just like, oh, really? Oh, yeah. I was like, yeah, really. And it was a great little moment,
Yeah.
He was totally
It's like that.
caught off guard.
It'll get you. Like,
It got him.
It got him.
Yeah.
Was the chemistry because to me, like you said, I said it was dysfunction, but rooted in love. Was there love on set?
Very much so.
Yeah.
We all really, it was a big family. That started from the producers on down, Ron Levitt, Michael Moy. It was just this like, you go on sets, and even I'll talk to Ed. I'm still very close with the whole cast. We talk on a regular basis all the time. I just was at Christina's house last week.
Hope she's well.
She's she's having a rough time, as you can imagine. But we're still very close. The only beef there was in that whole run was between is between Ed and Amanda Bierce, who played Marcy.
Oh,
I just saw a clip about that.
I
Yeah,
did not know that.
Didn't Ed O'Neill say that you and him weren't invited to her wedding?
Yeah, exactly. That clip is fucking hilarious. He's talking about Amanda and how it's just funny to hear him tell it from an 80 or a 79-year-old.
They didn't get along on the show.
Not at all. So he's telling this story to it was a pretty in-depth interview. I had actually seen that interview before it went viral but he's talking about Amanda and he's like, yeah, well, as time progressed, she became more and more, manly. And he goes, and then she had this wedding and she invited everyone except me and David. And I said, Amanda, why would you invite? He goes, why would you invite everyone but us two? She goes, because I think you'll be, laughing when we're getting married, and I don't think you'll take it serious. And he goes, Amanda, what would be funny about two grown women wearing white tuxes? And it's just like, it's cringe, but to hear him tell it is fucking hilarious. But at the end of it, so the big blowout happened one day in the makeup chair. Amanda had started directing, and
the episodes.
Yeah, here and there.
Did everybody have a shot at that? Was that like
no,
Katie
just Amanda?
Siegel? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, who wants to direct a sitcom? I don't. But she was starting to feel herself. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And Ed was like, so they had this huge blowout. I remember it like it was yesterday. And finally, they went off on the side. They were like yelling at each other, and he goes, and he tells this in the story. He goes, Amanda, you're not very bright. He goes, and then in the story, he's like, she is very bright, but she goes, what do you mean? What do you mean? He goes, well, you see, the thing is, I have a button, and my button says, get rid of Amanda Bierce. You don't have that button. He goes, my button works. Yours doesn't. It was a great, hilarious moment. And, he never pushed that button, but it was a funny story.
Yeah, nobody ever, when you think about it, and he's been on Modern Family for ever, there's never been this bad rep.
No, because he's a great guy.
Would he be a great dad in real life? Is he a great dad in real life?
He is a great dad in real life.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't want a dad that owns a piece of Married with Children and a piece of Modern Family?
Yeah. Well,
he's got this. He lives in a wing of the Four Seasons on the Big Island in Kona, and he did very well with owning a piece of the show.
Yeah.
But I love Ed. He's the greatest storyteller. We would just sit around set and listen to him tell stories about Youngstown and growing up with gangsters and almost going into that life because he was playing for the Steelers. He got just preseason. He got cut, and he knew that he wanted to be an actor, but he was in between, broke. And he's Youngstown, as you know, is there's a lot of gangsters and they were trying to kind of say, hey, you want to go on this run with us? And he tells this story about how he showed up at his house one day in this big caddy. He was in the passenger seat, and his dad knew the neighborhood, and knew the guy that was driving, and he got out of the car, came to the front porch, and his dad was booting up for work, putting his boots on, and all he said with him was, "Hey Ed," he goes, "Got a question for you. Do you think you could do time?" He goes, "Huh?" He goes, "Do you? I'm just curious. Do you think you could do time?" He goes, "I don't know." He goes, "Because a lot of guys can do time, a lot of guys can't." And he goes, "I was just curious." And Ed said, "I don't think so." And he knew from that very moment exactly what he meant, and that was a really big lesson for him. And he went on to start acting. But he was great. Ed's the greatest.
Yeah, I do. I love watching him and everything. Is it hard to not get, because the show ran for 11 years, was it hard? Because I feel like all of you kind of got like labeled as just the Bundys.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't see Ed O'Neill in anything else till maybe he got Modern Family.
Yeah,
or even Katie Siegel did the biker.
Yeah, Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy.
She was great.
She
in
was
it.
incredible in that. But like, I don't really remember Christina Till Death, the new show on Netflix. Or like, I feel like there's just this. You had this run. It was so iconic. It was so powerful. It meant so much more than comedy. Which 22 minutes of laughing, great, but like it had real meaning behind it for so many people.
I know, it's crazy when I talk to the fans.
It really is, because like I said, it was like this, there's love there, but it doesn't look like the cookie cutter thing, which normalizes so much of what people were going through.
Do you know how many times I hear, when I go to the fan conventions and things, people say, I hear this all the time. My family was super dysfunctional and we had a lot of tough times and we didn't. But every Sunday at 9 p.m., we sat around and just laughed our asses off. And those are the memories. I hear that all the time.
Yeah. And what a chance for Fox to take. Because wasn't like that one of their first sitcoms? Or
it was.
Like, yeah.
It was their very first.
Yeah. Oh, it was their very first.
It was us, Tracy Ullman, and 21 Jump Street. And they would play it on Sunday nights back to back.
Said those names.
I know, right?
I feel like Married with Children's still more relevant. Like we still talk about it, or they play the song or this. I haven't said Tracy Ullman or 21 Jump Street since Tracy Ullman and 21 Jump Street.
Exactly. No, I mean we became the hit. But yeah, Fox did take a huge risk, especially casting actors that were unknown. No one knew who we were at that time, especially, I said, as the Ed thing. They wanted at least one lead that was known to people.
And you go from being a completely unknown to, like, the most known.
Yeah, it was weird, man. It was super fucking weird.
And then everything after that, people just, like, was there, like, times in your life where you're like, I'm not Bud Bundy?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely validity to, it's you kind of get known as that character. But again, I started to embrace it years later, and I just was like, you know what? I was dealt a hand, and, I can provide for my family. I have a beautiful home. I make, I get residuals, and it's like, I still do what I love. I love hip hop music. I love DJing.
Which we're going to talk about, because your hat, I'm like, I love him already. He pulled up and got out of the car with a Run DMC hat on, and I'm like, this is my people.
Yeah, so I mean, I do what I love, and
you're DJing?
I am. Yeah, I love it. I love to DJ. I DJ on.
I always wanted to, only because I was such a huge hip hop head, and I was so part of the New York City nightclub scene, because that's really all that we had, and late 1990s and early 2000s, I was like in a club every night. There was a place to go, and I'd only follow the hip hop DJs.
Yeah,
because that was just the music.
It's the greatest.
Yeah.
I just love it, and I got into it very early. And I started a hip hop club in Los Angeles, at the Whiskey A Go Go, which at that time in '91 was quite literally only hair bands, only rock and roll. Hip hop had never touched the street. The strip, let alone even Hollywood. It was, you had to go to the inner city. You had to, and my partner Nick Adler, his father is Lou Adler, the legendary music producer who owns the Whiskey, and we were like, we want to throw a hip hop club here, and his partners were like, no fucking way in hell, and anyway, we did it, and it was a tremendous. We have already shot the documentary. It's in the can.
Oh my God, I love it.
I mean, the stories. So Will I Am, who was Will 1X at the time, was a Pac kid, and none of the Black Eyed Peas knew each other. They had never met. They all met at my club. Eazy-E was there just about every week. So Will, people don't know this about Will. He's a battle rapper, like a vicious battle rapper. He started out not as poppy at all. He would just take MCs down head to toe, and he would win this freestyle battle that we had that I would host every week. He held it for like 6 months straight. No one could beat him. I'm talking about Exhibit. I'm talking about MCs that Exhibit wasn't known at the time either. And Eazy-E saw this magical guy, and Will is a magical guy, and he signed him to Ruthless Records. They were called the App Band Clan at the time, and they all met there in the dance circle. And it was great. Will is a big part of the documentary. Taboo is producing it with me, and it's a great untold story.
Yeah.
It's
now that I'm in LA, it's so funny. I'm like, I could go out. I prefer it be during the day. Like, but where can I hear hip hop? Like, there are times where it's just part of like, it is my therapy. Like, people like will probably like look like pull up to my car and be like, what is she listening? Like, it is blasting.
Oh,
it is
yeah.
like I am like
Fuck yeah.
a total hip. It is my only like, even in my house, if I'm getting ready, it's like Biggie, Tupac.
Absolutely.
I'm all of the like, Wu-Tang Clan. I am just Run DMC. I went to the 50th anniversary.
Oh, you did?
Of hip hop.
Oh,
yes.
you did?
And I felt bad because Run DMC, they put on, obviously, because like the most iconic, they put them on at the end. And it was like 12:30, 1 o'clock, and you see all these like old cats dressed in their like three-piece suits waiting, and I'm like, they should have put them on first. We're
absolutely.
all exhausted. Like, it's the 50th anniversary. We're fucking tired. Like, have a little sense. I spoke to Fat Joe about it.
Did you?
Yeah. And I said, he goes,
like
I
Fat Joe.
know. I go, I wish they would have put them on first. Like, either put I get like putting them on last to make, to give them that clout, but even first just to blow it up. Everybody was still gonna wait, for the younger acts. But like they should have went first.
Absolutely.
Because we all waited, and it was like people were leaving, and I was like, it was late,
Yeah.
We're fucking old.
Where was it?
It was at Yankee Stadium.
Oh man, that must have been
Yeah.
tremendous.
So, how long did you have that club? Because
We ran for 2 years, and it was great. We didn't want to make money because we all had money. I mean, Lou Adler, and
it was just your place to be to hear hip hop and.
yeah. So we would literally transform the whiskey. We would bring in our own speakers. We would stack speakers because it was a rock and roll club. So, but in hip hop, sound is everything, and we would stack speakers, and we would bring in a dance floor. We'd throw up army tarps all over the place. We'd have graph artists come in and do pieces. And you couldn't recognize it inside.
Yeah, this was like, you guys did it. That was like, fuck you money you had. And you were this is what we want.
But Lou is a businessman, so he'd be like, is this all necessary? Like, don't you want it? We're like, no, we don't, we don't want to.
It's all the vibe. It's all the sounds. It's, So what's the name of the documentary?
So the documentary is called Ballistics was the name of the club, of course, because back then it was like, kick the ballistics, shit, So it's called Ballistics, the untold story of the first hip-hop club on the Sunset Strip.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch
Everybody's, I mean, Robin Thicke met his wife, Paula Patton there. I mean, Leo was a regular when Leo was doing Growing Pains. It was a tremendous, great time.
that. Yeah. There's something about like listening to that music that, it's so funny. It's like therapeutic.
Oh, so therapeutic.
But like if other people are an old generation. My mother's a total hip hop head, by the way. Her phone rings Biggie. It's
That's
like,
so dope.
It's so wild.
My
Like,
mom liked hip hop too.
yeah, my mother was like, I'll never forget. It was like, God, more than 10 years now. And my mother was like, 50 Cent's going to be in Atlanta, in Philly. I'm like, Ma, listen, we're from New York and we're the Bronx, but like that's a different level. I'm not taking you to
50,
Philly to see 50 Cent. Like I don't
that's
care
amazing.
how commercial he is.
Yeah.
We can't go. But then he came to Citi Field and I surprised her for Mother's Day. Everybody's like, what'd you get your mom for Mother's Day? And they're like, oh, flowers and a brunch. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm taking my mother to see 50
That's
Cent.
tremendous. That's tremendous. My mom's favorite rapper was KRS-One.
Oh.
Yeah, and we used to listen to the song Bo Bo Bo. She loved KRS-One.
I did a series called Boroughbreds. And it would be like me on the streets of like all the different boroughs, interviewing either small business owners or people on the street. And I had Step into
yeah,
the
yeah.
world by KRS-One as my
Oh, that's great. Chris is great. He, because Married with Children appealed to such a wide audience. It was huge with the Black community and the hip hop community specifically, and so I had an in with all those guys. So all my biggest idols and people I loved were like fans of mine. It was the very cool
Now that's
thing.
the cool part
It was
of
so
like
dope.
the embracing the fame, right?
Yeah, you had these like jocks that wanted to kick my ass, but like the people I loved were like, "Oh fuck!"
Right.
I remember when Eminem was in his heyday. You know, it was the Dr. Dre first album, and I was at the Source Awards, and I was sitting like on the aisle, like third or fourth row, and in walked from the back Eminem with his crew, and I was a huge Eminem fan as well. And I remember going, because I'd never met him, and I remember going, he's coming down the aisle, and I remember going, am I gonna like stand up and say something? There's a chance I could play myself here, like I don't know. And so I just said, fuck it. Last minute, I stood up and I said, hey man, my name's David Faustino. He cut me off like mid sentence. He's like, yo, bro, I fucking grew up with you. Grabs me, gives me this big hug. So it's like moments like that, that are just very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and also I think too, like I watch it with Chaz, right? It's also like in the hip hop community, he's huge because he plays like this gangster and and they idolize him.
Yeah.
And I feel like you had, even though you were set to play somebody who couldn't get it, like in the show, it was like constant, struggle kid. You had this like swag about you that was like so relatable to everybody growing up at that point. And a lot of those artists are our age now. Like you don't realize that like people are identifying with you on so many different levels at that point.
They set up my bedroom, which for the first 2 or 3 seasons they didn't show my bedroom, and they wrote an episode where I'm in my room, and they were like, how do you want to decorate this thing? I was like, this, that, and the other. And I said, I want a couple posters on the wall. So the 2 I chose, and this is Illmatic, Nas's Illmatic, it had just dropped, but it was, like, I knew it through the Source magazine, and it wasn't a hit yet by any means. And except for within the deep hip hop community. And I was like, I want the Nas Illmatic poster on the fucking wall. And the love I got from the community because of that was just like,
wow, see those things, yeah.
And Nas in an interview in the LA Times, who I know now, he's a great dude, but he was like, when we saw our album cover on Bud Bundy's wall, we knew we were about to blow.
How cool is that?
Yeah,
like that's
cool.
my favorite story you told now. Maybe because it just combines the both of everything that I love, which is like hip hop and Married with Children. But yeah, that's unreal.
Fun fact, so the 2 highest, I don't know how they get these ratings, but the 2 highest ratings in prison, the highest rated, most watched shows were 1, Cops, 2, Married with Children. It was huge in the hood and in jails, and yeah.
Because it wasn't, like, who the hell in that position wants to watch a family getting along and everything working out all the time?
Precisely.
I don't.
They want to laugh their balls off.
I liked it for a minute because it made me fantasize. But once you're developing and you're like figuring out, have all these questions of who you are or what you're going to do with your life, my age 15 to 20 were probably my darkest years. And I didn't have a great childhood, but I think developing and like trying to become my own a woman or whatever at that age was my darkest.
Oh, yeah.
I was in terrible relationships. I was watching terrible relationships at home. I was like, dropping out of high school. I got into the best high school in all the country and was like, couldn't sustain my grades because I was just like everything around. And then you go to a show like that where there's still love. And it's like there was like a glimmer of hope in watching the show, but still feeling normalized. Like to me, it was like, oh, not everybody has, June Cleaver at home,
Huxtable.
Right.
Yeah, no. I didn't.
Yeah. What was do you talk about your childhood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Italian Irish.
Okay. Well, Faustino.
Faustino, yeah. My father is pure Sicilian, believe it or not. I got my mom's skin.
Right. I'm Sicilian.
I can't even go in the fucking sun. I'm just like,
And I look like this. Airbrushed.
and you know, without giving you the sob story and bashing Sicilians, my dad was fucking crazy.
Yeah. I come from crazy Sicilians.
So you know how it is. There's something in there. You know, just it was a very tough house to grow up in.
But did they stay married?
No. My dad was, you know, he was a womanizer and all that good stuff.
Mine too.
Yeah, I loved the guy, but he was just brutal. You know, he was brutal. And then, but the hardest part was, in other moments, he was the greatest fucking guy in the world. Very supportive of us working, and you know, didn't spend our money. Only wanted.
Oh, which you see so much of.
Yeah, we didn't have that
in Hollywood. Yeah,
my parents were like to a fault on the other end of that. They didn't spend, as they said about my dad. Your dad has his first dollar.
yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. But it was a tough house. I mean, we were the house on the block. You know, we lived in Burbank. Not where you're from. There's tons of Italians. Where we were, not so much. We were the house on the block that was embarrassing. There was always screaming and fucking cursing and just insanity coming from that house, you know. My dad's from Chicago originally, but then they all moved
And
out
then
here.
you played. Wasn't Married with Children supposed to be
it was.
based in Chicago? Yeah.
I took my dad back to Chicago. He hadn't been in like 30 years.
Great town.
Because I had to go there for something. And I took my dad and we drove to his house that he grew up in.
Ton of Italians in Chicago.
Oh yeah, well he was from the South Side.
Yeah.
Which now is it's the hood. And so just to see his house, he teared up and stuff. It was crazy.
So, and your mom Irish
From Ohio. She's from Ohio. And she was the enabler, but my mom was the greatest. I mean, she was, as Katie Seagal, I remember Katie said something. We were sitting there, and my mom came over and said some stuff to me. She walked, she goes, Dave, you got a great mom. And she was, yeah.
How long did they stay? How old were you when they separated?
They split. So we had a massive earthquake out here in 94, January of 94, January 17th. I'll never forget it because we lived on the fault line. So we ended up, my mom wanted a bigger house, and my dad, like, for years was like, fuck that, we're staying in Burbank, we're not moving. So eventually she talked him into moving out to Northridge, which is where the quake was centered. And I'll never forget because we thought, because we were sort of in this community, we thought the San Andreas, the big one that we talk about, we thought for sure that was it, that we had survived the big one. We thought like LA downtown was like flattened. And then we couldn't get any electricity, nothing. So eventually we're at the car radio like outside of our house, and these reports start coming in. They're like, the quake is centered in Northridge, and my dad, like, all he could say was, the fucking Northridge quake. Like, he was like shoving it in my mom's face.
Fault.
Yeah, her fault.
It was your mom's fault. There was an earthquake.
Totally. And
this natural disaster you made us move to.
You fucking bitch. And that was the catalyst to get my mom to say, how much longer do I want to live like this? It shook up her whole life. Like,
how old were you?
I was 17, maybe.
She stayed a long time. She stayed a long time.
A long time. Well, I have a brother who's 62, 11 years older than me.
Oh wow.
So she stayed a long time.
Yeah.
But finally, after that quake, she was like, I'm fucking out of here, man. I just can't do this for the rest of my life.
And she was probably, what, in her only 50s then? Or
she was, in her 50s.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think there comes a point where, like, she had to be with him her whole life from when she was young at that point, that you just, after a certain age, for me, when I hit 40, it was like a game changer, but it's like, I can eliminate anybody from my life at this point.
She did, and she became a happy woman after that. She met a guy that was the polar opposite. God bless him, Richard. He was the kindest, sweetest.
It's like you're gonna go for the
greatest.
polar opposite of what you had. Thank
Yeah.
God, at that
Yeah.
point, if you're gonna leave,
Yeah, I mean, he was the greatest, totally opposite. And my dad, being the woman, he used to say, talk about manifestation. He used to say, when I go out, I want to die fucking, or whatever it was. And sure as shit, he was sleeping with he was 73 with his 50-some-year-old girlfriend, having sex, heart attack, dead.
I mean, he got what he wanted.
He got what he wanted. He called
got
it.
what he wanted.
Called it. Not so good for her.
Right.
Good for him.
I mean, I would die myself.
Yeah,
I would
right.
I don't think I'd ever have sex again. Like
Yeah.
I think that's like the moment where you're like, I'm done. I'm
He
done with
died
this.
doing what he loved to do, and it was crazy.
So you really had to grow up with so I mean, really, your whole childhood was in that tumultuous.
Yeah.
Even after fame, like, was it wild for your like neighbors and people who knew you coming from like?
Oh yeah, I was like, and I would be humiliated at just our setup, and you'd have people. So we lived in this cracker box house in Burbank, 1 bathroom for fucking 5 people, and I would have, as the show started getting more popular, there would be like a group of teenagers or whatever that would come by in their cars, and you hear, "Whoa, Bundy." It was weird, man. It was weird. I was glad we moved to Northridge because we moved into this big estate house that had, walls and shit. But before that, it was just.
Was that
like,
because of you? No, because you said they didn't.
I helped buy the house, but I ended up, it was in my
in your
name.
name. Yeah,
and I ended up, when my father, I just say let my dad. I mean, he also put in money to the house. But when he passed, the house was mine. It had accrued a lot of money in it, and then I was able to sell that. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah. So did you, like, they separated? He moved out?
No, he stayed in the house. My mom didn't even want to be there. She was like,
left.
I'm fucking. We got her a place.
So with a parent from Ohio, like one from Ohio, one from Chicago, they had you in acting at 3 months old. Was that the goal to come to LA? Was this
No. No. My father was a costumer in the business.
Okay.
Well known. And he was in his office, and my older brother was extremely cute as a kid. I mean, just a beautiful kid. And he had a picture of him up in his office, and a guy doing a commercial was like, "I'd like to have your son maybe come do this commercial." And he was, as I said, he's 11 years older. And that's just kind of how it happened.
So your brother got into the business as well?
Yeah, but now he's he's got 4 Emmys. I say someday I'm gonna have one of those. Someone in the family has to have one. He's like the main mixer for like American Idol and The Voice and all that shit. And but he started as an actor.
And you had a sister?
I have a sister.
Is she in the business?
She is a school teacher.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, she did acting for like a few years.
And so because you were here, your parents just put you all in it, or?
Yeah, just like my brother had success, and the next thing you know, we're like, this is kind of cool.
So now being like basically born into it, right? Because like, did you want it? Like I always say, do you think if that wasn't the situation, it would have been something innately you would have went for? Like, do you ever think to that? Like
No, I don't. I wasn't particularly good at sports, although I was on teams, but the coach would be like, because all the auditions, so the way they work with kids is, the auditions start from like 3:30 to 6 p.m. You go around town. I couldn't make any practices, and so I wouldn't. So I loved being an actor. I really enjoyed it, and I was kind of good at it. Even in I did Love Boat, Fantasy Island, Family Ties, so many of the shows, and I was always working. I was always working.
Yeah. So, which is like, I think to me just so fascinating that from like 3 months old, I like I said, and I'll say it again, I don't think there was anybody else. I know there isn't anybody else. America agrees that could have been Bud Bundy the way you were.
Well, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, is there one particular line or something that like you think the most memorable for you, or a scene, or?
A fan reminded me once, it was, and it made me laugh, Well, there's two moments. One for a Bud Bundy moment was we're on the couch and Kelly and Al were having one of their moments of just like complete stupidity and just talking nonsense. And I'm in the middle. And I finally look at them and I say, must I be the meat in an imbecile sandwich? Which I thought was a funny line. But one of the funniest moments to this day, and probably my favorite episode, is the first Christmas episode we did, where where Santa Claus is doing this stunt where he's parachuting into the mall, and Al's just fucking pissed. He has wanting nothing to do with it, and so he stays home. He doesn't go to work that day, and we're all sitting around the TV, and we're all gathered on the couch. And we're watching, and you say, here, the announcer on TV is like, here comes Santa, and he's coming down. Wait a minute, Santa's chute doesn't seem to be opening. And you hear, and all of a sudden you hear the trees rustling, and wha-boom! He lands with just this tremendous thud. And he ends up dead in the backyard. Santa, died. Yeah. And he lands,
dead Santa? Could it be anything
Yeah, and they used this real weighted dummy that was a human weight. And just this giant thing. And they had it on these hooks. And when they would push this button, a compressor, and it would open. And this thing was so fucking loud, and it would land with this tremendous thud. And to this day, if you watch the episode, Ed being the seasoned actor he is, would never do something like this. But so it thuds, we all turn around to look. And we look, and we all just slowly turn back to the TV. We could not keep a straight face up until tape day. And if you watch it to this day, you'll see Ed holding for dear life. And only time he ever did it was like such an amateur move to check the camera to see if it's looking at you, and you'll see him look for just a split second. It was a hilarious moment, and there's some great lines from that episode. One of them being, we're sitting around the coroner's taking the body out, the cops are all there, and we're sitting at the table eating our Christmas dinner, and Amanda, Marcy's character, Marcy says, "You ghouls, how can you be eating at such a time? Or you ghouls, how can you be acting like this at such a time?" And Al turns to him and says, "What do you want us to do, Steve? Quit eating?" It's just these great little lines, but it was a funny episode.
Yeah. Oh my God. Dead Santa. This is
Dead Santa.
Kids at home.
Oh yeah. Just traumatizing.
But I loved having you. Seriously. The Sicilian roots.
Yeah.
So your dad, you said, was wild. Was anybody in your family? Because my dad's Sicilian and an alcoholic.
What part?
Forza de Gro. It's like it's like 19 minutes from Taormina.
Okay. Calabria.
Oh, okay. Well, Calabria
is that just north? It's just north.
North of Sicily. Yeah.
So, Calabrese, I guess.
I mean, but Calabrese is.
Yeah.
So is Kita.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually never been to that area of Italy.
Two hard-headed people in studio with me.
Two dummies.
I'm the meat in the Calabrian sandwich.
Yes, you are. Gabagool.
And congratulations, because before the podcast started, you mentioned being sober for 2 years.
Yeah.
Which is no small feat.
No, yeah.
And
the best decision I've ever made besides my children, bar none.
Yeah, my dad will say that too.
It's changed everything. I mean, had I started much, much earlier, life probably would have taken a tremendous turn. But it happens when it happens,
And it happens when it's supposed to. I realize that now.
It should have happened a lot earlier. Trust me on that one.
Listen, my dad was, it's so funny, I just did a joke about it. My dad was 61, I think, when he got sober. And he got his GED like that year or something, like in a program the year before that. And I was like, my dad got his GED at 60, which is like, it's never too late to give up.
It's amazing what can happen. It's amazing what can happen in life when you're not pouring drugs and alcohol into your system.
Right. So, but listen, it's, you know what? He's 80. I'm taking him to Sicily this year in October.
Oh my God, amazing.
I always had a pretty strong relationship with my dad. But it was, he loved, right? Which was like his one
Yeah.
redeeming quality is
Yeah,
that my
exactly.
dad really did love me.
Same.
He just couldn't put me first or anything else
yeah.
above his either addictions or gambling or women or
no.
But I always say at least I was loved enough
Me too.
because
Me
then
too.
I'd be hanging off a pole. But
And as you get older, you
there's
realize
nothing wrong with that.
when you stop complaining about everything that they've done and all the bad shit, you start to see the moments of like, oh, wait a minute. He was great in this area, and he said this to me, and
I think because now we're around the same age. I think you get to a point.
I'm older, but go ahead.
I'll be okay with that. But you do get to a point where I look at my parents now, both my dad and my mom, and I say they did the best they could from where they came from.
And that's what it is.
And that only came recently. So if you're listening to the podcast and we all have these, listen, Married with Children, right? It was about there being dysfunction and still being love. So it's like, we've said that's been like repeated on this episode so many times. I come from dysfunction on both sides of the family, addictions, both sides, which I always keep myself in check because I know it's in my blood. If anything, I'm addicted to work at this point.
That's okay. Workaholism is great.
But it's in me.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm very cautious of it. But I look at where my dad came from. I look at where my mom came from. You want to talk about crazy Sicilians? My grandfather was nuts. I mean, I had grandparents that got divorced. Like that.
That doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That's how fucking crazy
Yeah,
they
yeah.
both were in their own right. Like
Yeah.
I'll never forget my grandmother had 6 kids with this guy.
Yeah.
She told me the story. I was like, I didn't want to be this close to you, but she told me that, she went to the doctor. She couldn't have kids anymore. She went to the priest. She came home. My grandfather walked in the door. She said, I went to the doctor. I can't have kids anymore. And if you want a blowjob, I got a gun. And she had a gun. Like she'll blow. And he was crazy, jealous, insane.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Fuck yeah.
insane. Like accused her of sleeping with my uncle's friends. Like
Oh,
just
yeah,
like
same.
And meanwhile, she always looked like a grandmother. Like, back then it's not like she was, cutting a slit in her house dress. Like there was no reason to believe anything, but
Yeah.
it's like he was touched, my grandfather, and my mother came from a father who was so loving just like mine, but a complete alcoholic. So she went right from her dad to a guy just like him. My grandmother was clinically depressed. There she was, and now she had to raise me with a man who couldn't raise himself.
Yeah, of course.
So it's
I have a
like-
very, very similar story.
So I just think it took me a while to get to where I am, but I do forgive and accept.
That's it.
And
Otherwise,
so, right.
You're just living in
You're hurting
self-pity
yourself,
and
right?
poor
If you're
me.
not right, if you're just, then you're only holding on to those grudges and wishing things were different really only affects the person who feels that way.
Absolutely.
So, I loved having you.
I loved having you.
Really, this
I
was...
loved having you too. No, I love
yeah,
being
he loved
had.
having. So, all right, Sicilian and Irish. What's the one meal? The one meal if you could have only one meal for the rest of your life.
Oh, it would be the Faustino family sauce. I mean, it was outstanding.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is, and we kept it in the family.
Did you?
They passed it down to my sister-in-law and the family. I don't cook it. I should, but I don't cook a thing. One of my wife's biggest complaints: I don't cook anything, and I'm not proud of that. Like, I still want to do some shit, but I don't. But I do. I will say Rayo's is pretty good. Rayo sauce in a jar.
Yes.
I hate to say jar sauce because I'd be slapped around by
but
some people.
Rayo's has been given a pass by many Italians.
It's not bad. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And once in a while I'll add meat to it.
Have you gone to the Rayo's here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Johnny roast beef at the door?
I opened a restaurant with John Williams back in the 90s, early
Wow.
90s. Yep.
He's going to be a guest on the podcast.
Oh, great.
Have to figure out.
Please tell him
how to get him in the studio.
I still see him when I go.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But I was like, there's a lot of stairs here. I don't know if Johnny's going to want to climb them.
You should have seen my dad and him. You talk about two guys going at each other. I mean, face to face, screaming in each other's face, spit flying. I mean, it got rough there for a little while. Two hard-headed motherfuckers.
I mean, two of the most probably Italian people in LA, right? It's Italian American, thick-headed.
Totally. It was wild.
Oh, well, that's great. Guys, I know you guys already love the episode because you love everything nostalgia. But David, where else can they find you? Give us updates. When is do we know anything about the documentary
Okay, so the
coming
documentary should be out within the next year. So we shot the whole thing, but it's a music. The heart of it is music, right? So we're doing music clearances and all that jazz right now. So it's called Ballistics: The Untold Story of the First Hip Hop Club on the Sunset Strip. So look for that at David Faustino across social media. I don't really hit Twitter, but I'm on Instagram.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, leave the gun, take the cannolis. I'll leave you with that.
That's how I'm going to start ending this podcast. Guys, go to taradjokes.com for all my tickets. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you next week.
See ya.
Peace.
Cawfee Talk.